All right, well, I'm first, and maybe before the timer starts, I just want to, on behalf of all the fellows, thank TDG and Startup UCLA for an amazing experience. You guys have been incredibly supportive and incredibly patient with us, kind of innovation newbies. Robert, Joel, Deanna, Keith, Emily, you guys have been amazing. Thank you so much. I think we can start the timer now. But go ahead. So, my other disclaimer is I looked really good, about a half an hour ago, and I got soaked on the way in here, but I had to change of clothes. But I think maybe I look a little bit more like the typical innovator now in my jeans. So I'm Dan Levi. I am head of congenital and interventional pediatric cardiology here at UCLA. I'm going to tell you about PediaStent. Oh, where's the clicker?
Might be over there. I could click for you too.
Oh yeah, you click for me too. I'll just say click. So I got a pretty fancy title, but if you ask my children, they'd say, well, basically my dad's a plumber for baby hearts. And this is a typical angiogram. You better click for me because it's not advancing. So click. And if you look closely, click again, you'll see that angiogram has a click narrowing right in the aorta, right where all the blood goes down to the bottom of this child's heart. And basically what I do is I come through the arteries and veins from below, and I will put, what you see there is a metal scaffolding that I put on a balloon to make that horrible obstruction in this little child's aorta perfect, so the blood can flow to the legs and all the vital organs below the neck. This is a case that went well. This is a patient with an older patient, a girl with a similar lesion. And what you see here, when I blow up that balloon to dilate that stent up and hold this aorta open, if you look really carefully, there's a gray blush. That gray blush is blood coming out of this little girl's aorta. This is a position I never want to be in. This aorta ruptured completely, her left chest filled up with blood. You can see us doing chest compressions and trying to patch up this aorta with this balloon, but this is an absolutely horrible situation. She has no blood pressure, the heart's not beating at all. Fortunately, we had the foresight to make kind of an internal Band-Aid. This is something called a covered stent, but this is the actual device that I had in the lab. I basically just taken Gore-Tex, and if you look really closely, we sutured it onto a stent. And then we mounted that stent on the balloon, the heart still stopped, and we deployed that stent as sort of an internal Band-Aid for this ruptured aorta, continued chest compressions. But once that stent was in, this aorta was patched up, we were able to transfuse this girl back with blood, get her heart started again. We were super worried about her, and we woke her up and we said, hey, move your left hand, move your right hand. And she goes, hey, what do you know? I feel great. So it turned out real well, but it almost didn't turn out well. I use this story as sort of an example of how we need tools. We don't have the tools that we need to treat little kids and infants and children with congenital heart disease properly. We don't have the tools that we need to help kids like this avoid getting a median sternotomy scar that you require if you get an open heart surgical procedure to your approach to fixing congenital heart disease. And the reason for this is twofold. Number one, we're a small market. And number two, the FDA process is incredibly expensive to get these stents approved. So, starting with the Obama administration, the FDA kind of realized this. They said, we don't want this situation. We need to get these people the tools that they need, and they've greatly simplified and made this process a lot less cumbersome. And fortunately, this process has continued through our buddy Trump's administration. So, the basis of PediaStent is to starting with the most basic tools that we need to treat these children safely. So this is the first product that PediaStent is going to be offering. It's a covered stent designed specifically for children. The stent structure is designed specifically for children. The way that we put the PTFE covering on here is designed specifically for children. We're able to crimp this stent down such that we can get it through the small arteries and veins that children have. We use these tubes called sheaths to get these stents into the body. This stent is light years ahead of anything we have. We're also going to be offering an uncovered version of this stent to treat the arteries that go to the lungs and the body of little babies and young children. This stent is also designed specifically for the pediatric application. It's very low profile, as you see here. It goes on a balloon and can also go in through a very small sheath. This is our team. That's me, dressed a little nicer. I've also recruited Tim Moran, who's already successfully marketed and distributed products to my community, as well as John Cheatham, who's been a mentor with me, and he's an expert not only in stent design, but in the regulatory process that's required to get these stents through the FDA. These are the devices we use now. The first stent is really the only covered stent we have. It's really inappropriate for children. You see the Gore-Tex is just kind of wrapped around and stapled on the stent. We get away with this stent, but it's not what we need. We also use uncovered stents that are actually approved for the bile tract, like, you know, what that green stuff goes through in your gut. So we're using biliary stents now to stent little kids, and we're paying a lot for these stents. This is the road we have in front of us. The FDA is unwilling to allow a product that we haven't absolutely proved is safe and effective, so there's still quite a regulatory process that we're able to go through, but it's much more reasonable, and it's something that I think we can do once we've done all the bench testing, animal testing, and a clinical trial for about $3 million. We're going to be looking to raise $3 to $4 million in order to get the stents that we've already made and started testing approved for use in children. It's a lot of money, but it's a lot less money than it used to be. Stents are incredibly cheap to manufacture, even the covered stents, and given what we can charge for them, even if we assume we capture only half the market and underprice the current level of competition, we can have really conservative estimates an annual income of $5 million. So this is the idea. The first product's going to be a covered stent and an uncovered stent. Hopefully we start making money toward the end of 2021, and then we can get on with all the other products that these children need. Heart valves that we can put in without surgery. Specialized devices for closing holes called VSDs within their hearts. Biodegradable stents. This is a stent, the zinc stent we made here at UCLA, and even heart valves that grow. I appreciate you guys listening to me, and hopefully with some help and thanks to Startup UCLA, we can continue to offer these babies the best tools possible to not only keep them out of the OR, but to give them the treatment that they deserve. Thank you very much.